Welcome to Japan Literature. The story today is Fight in the Dark Night. First episode, Lost Platinum Ingot. The culprit in the red diamond case turned out to be Toshio's uncle, which might have disappointed readers hoping for a villain to be caught. But what I'm going to tell you now is about how Toshio's detective skills brilliantly caught a group of precious metal thieves who had been robbing various places in Tokyo for years. It was the middle of the night in October, or more accurately, around 2 a.m., so you could even say early morning. I was woken up by a loud knocking on the door of our office and lab. "Toshio, Toshio," a woman's voice called out repeatedly. When I said, "Toshio," and woke him up from the bed next to mine, he replied, "I know, that's Mrs. Kimura." Toshio quickly got dressed and went to open the door. Mrs. Kimura isn't a relative, but she's the wife of Aikichi Kimura, who owns a small precious metal factory about a block away from Toshio's house. Toshio often visits there, so they're very close. "Toshio, it's terrible. A thief just broke in and took a valuable platinum ingot. Please come quickly." Mrs. Kimura said, her face pale. "Where was it stolen from?" "The factory. Please calm down and tell me what happened. I'll get ready while you do." Toshio then began checking the contents of his detective bag. Mrs. Kimura, out of breath, explained that yesterday, a messenger from Count Sumira's family came to ask them to make a bracelet with engravings from a platinum ingot, passed down through the Count's family by the day after tomorrow morning. They were warned to be very careful because this platinum ingot had been targeted by thieves many times before. Mr. Kimura, Mrs. Kimura's husband, and his assistant, Takeuchi, worked until midnight. Takeuchi then planned to work all night to finish the job. However, just as Mr. Kimura got into bed and started to doze off, he heard strange noises from the factory. He immediately got up and opened the factory door. It was completely dark inside, but there was a strange, sweet, and sour smell. Startled, he turned on the light and was shocked to find his assistant, Tishi, unconscious on the floor by the workbench, and the platinum ingot was gone. I thought about calling the police right away, but it was late at night, and I thought you, Toshio, would find the culprit faster than the police, so I came to ask for your help," Mrs. Kimura said, looking intently at Toshio's face. "Don't worry, Mrs. Kimura. I'll definitely get the platinum ingot back for you." 10 minutes later, we arrived at the Kimura's house. Takeuchi, the assistant, had already regained consciousness and was speaking normally. According to Takeuchi, about 40 minutes after Mr. Kimura left the factory, someone suddenly broke a window from outside. Surprised, he looked up, and a cold wind with a strange smell blew in through the broken glass. He then lost consciousness and only came to when Mr. Kimura helped him. That's when he realized the platinum ingot was gone. Toshio seemed to dislike Takeuchi. He often told me he's a nasty guy. Even now, while listening to Takeuchi, Toshio would sometimes glare at him, which made me wonder if Toshio suspected Takeuchi. After listening to Takeuchi's story, Toshio followed Mr. Kimura to the factory. A nasty smell filled the air. The factory was next to the living room, about a foot lower than the living room, with a dirt floor. It was an 8-tatami mat size room, with 3 walls, separated from the living room by a door. The window was on the north side with 2 glass panes and iron bars on the outside. 2 feet from the window was a workbench, covered with various bottles and tools. Shelves lined the 3 walls, also filled with bottles and chemical equipment. Toshio took out a magnifying glass from his detective bag and first examined the floor. However, there didn't seem to be any footprints or clues. He then intently examined the glass shards on the inside of the window and measured the size of the broken hole. Then he opened the glass door and looked at the bars. Indeed, 2 of them had been cut with a file and bent open. Next, Toshio examined the threshold and then took out his flashlight and shined it outside. The ground was covered in grass, and glass fragments had fallen on it. For a moment, Toshio stared at the fragments, deep in thought. "Quite a clever thief," Toshio said mockingly. When Toshio speaks that way, it always means the opposite. So, a clever thief means a clumsy thief. Then, Toshio carefully examined everything on the workbench and inside its drawers. Next, he examined the items on the shelves with the same intensity, opening every box-like object to check its contents. He searched as if he were frantically looking for the platinum hidden somewhere in the factory. Finally, he saw a teapot and teacups on a tray on the bottom shelf on the west side, and Toshio asked Mr. Kimura, "Who drinks this tea?" "I do," Takuchi said, entering the factory at that moment. The way he spoke sounded as if he was looking down on Toshio, and it irritated me a little. Toshio took off the lid of the teapot. "It looks like a rather tasty color for tea that only Takuchi drinks," Toshio retorted, not to be outdone, with a sarcastic remark. After finishing his inspection inside the factory, Toshio came to the living room and said to Mr. Kimura, "The factory inspection is done. Were there any clues?" Mr. Kimura asked, looking closely at Toshio's face. "There's still an important inspection left, so I can't say anything until that's done." "What is that?" "A body search of Mr. Kimura and Takuchi." "What? Do you think we took it?" "I don't think anything, but we need to be very thorough with the inspection." "But I wouldn't steal, and Takuchi has been here for half a year and is a guaranteed honest person, so that's not necessary, is it?" Toshio said stubbornly, "If you don't want a body search, I'll withdraw from this case. You can have the police do it." Both Mr. Kimura and Takeuchi reluctantly submitted to Toshio's body search. Takeuchi, in particular, looked displeased. Toshio, with malicious politeness, meticulously searched every pocket of Takeuchi's clothes. But the platinum ingot was not found on either Mr. Kimura or Takeuchi. Now that the external body search is done, it's time for the internal one. "Huh," Mr. Kimura said, surprised. "What do you mean by internal inspection?" "The platinum ingot can be consumed if it's broken into small pieces, so it can be hidden inside the body." Mr. Kimura looked astonished, but said, half jokingly, "So, you gonna cut open our stomachs to check?" "Uncle Kimura," Toshio said with a serious face, "let's stop joking. The reason I want to look inside your bodies is because there's a good reason to. We're going to Dr. Okajima's place in Surugadai now to have both of you examined with x-rays, so please prepare a car immediately." Toshio's words were so firm that Mr. Kimura said nothing and sent Mrs. Kimura to a nearby car rental. I called Dr. Okajima as Toshio ordered. It was still before dawn, but the doctor kindly replied that we could come anytime. Dr. Okajima was a doctor of medicine who had doted on Toshio like his own child when Toshio studied medicine under him. He would listen to any difficult request from Toshio. That's why Toshio had a car prepared before asking about the doctor's convenience. Soon, the car arrived, and the four of us drove through the quiet, early morning streets towards Surugadai. We were mostly silent, but Takeuchi, in particular, looked as if he had bitten a bitter bug. I thought about many things as the car swayed. As Toshio said, there had to be a good reason to examine them with x-rays. That meant either Mr. Kimura or Takeuchi might have swallowed the platinum. I was eager to see the results of Dr. Okajima's examination, and even the car's speed felt frustratingly slow. The second episode, X-ray Examination and a Mysterious Tea. Have you ever seen an internal body examination using x-rays, dear readers? To do it, the person stands on an examination table, illuminated by x-rays from behind, and a barium platinosenide screen is placed in front of you. Barium platinosenide fluoresces when exposed to x-rays. X-rays can pass through clothes and muscles easily, but they have difficulty passing through metals and bones. These appear as shadows on the screen. So, if Mr. Kimura or Takeuchi had swallowed the platinum, its shadow should definitely have been visible. However, despite Dr. Okajima's diligent examination, no platinum-like shadows appeared in either of their bodies. Toshio, neither of them has swallowed it, the doctor said with a serious face. Thank you very much. That's a relief, Toshio replied with a relieved smile. I was quite disappointed since my expectations were completely off. Then Toshio said to the two men who were getting dressed, Mr. Kimura, Teuchi, thank you very much for your trouble. Mr. Kimura was smiling, but Teuchi looked sulky, as if to say, I told you so. All right, my search plan is now decided. I'll hurry out to check the places I have in mind. I'll take the car, so you two can go home by train. With that, Toshio greeted Dr. Okajima, took my hand as if pulling me along, and led me outside. Brother, hurry up. Buy some bread on the way. Then we'll go to Mr. Kimura's house, so tell the driver to go full speed. I thought that if we were going to Mr. Kimura's house, he should have just brought the two of them along, but I figured it was still due to Toshio's dislike for Takeuchi. After buying bread at a newly opened shop in Awajicho, we sped through the quiet morning streets in the car. Toshio seemed to be so focused on our destination that he leaned forward and barely spoke. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. Hey, Toshio, I called out. He finally turned to me as if coming back to himself, smiled, and leaned back against the car's seat. What are you going to do with the bread? I asked. I'm going to eat breakfast at Mrs. Kimura's place. What? Breakfast? Yes, Mrs. Kimura's house has delicious tea. Even Takeuchi enjoys drinking it, doesn't he? I remembered the teapot for Takeuchi's tea in Mr. Kimura's workshop earlier. Shall I join you for breakfast? No, brother. As soon as we arrive, I need you to go to the Metropolitan Police Department. What? The Metropolitan Police Department? So, do you have a lead on the culprit? I don't know anything yet, but there might be a big arrest, Toshio said, his eyes sparkling. After a while, I asked again, you said earlier that there was a reason to go for the X-ray. Was that serious? Of course. What reason? I can't tell you now. But neither of them swallowed the platinum, did they? I knew that from the beginning. What? I was surprised. If he knew they hadn't swallowed the platinum, why bother Dr. Okajima? I couldn't understand it no matter how I thought about it. The real culprit and a baffling revelation. Soon, the car returned to Mr. Kimura's place. Mrs. Kimura, hearing the noise, rushed outside. Toshio, how was it? Mrs. Kimura asked. Neither of them swallowed the platinum. I had an errand on the way, so I came ahead, but they'll be here soon. We left the car waiting and went inside the house. Mrs. Kimura, where is Takeuchi's lodging? It's on the second floor of Kato's greengrocer at 10 Shimbadori, Shiba Ward. Could you please give me an envelope? When Mrs. Kimura brought an envelope, Toshio quickly scribbled something in his notebook with a pencil. Then he tore out the page and put it inside the envelope. Brother, please take this to Mr. Oda at the Metropolitan Police Department. He was on duty last night, so I might not be back until around 10 o'clock, but please wait at home. As I stood up, Toshio said to Mrs. Kimura, Mrs. Kimura, I'm hungry, so I'll eat the bread I bought in the factory. Do you have any cold tea? Yes, I do. The one I boiled earlier has already cooled down. Indeed, Detective Oda was at the Metropolitan Police Department. Oda and Toshio were great friends, and Toshio called Oda Uncle P. P supposedly stand for the first letter of police. Oda reportedly disliked the nickname Uncle P, but he had often achieved successes with Toshio's help, so he never got angry at what Toshio said. Oda, or Uncle P, immediately opened Toshio's letter when he heard it was from him, and his face suddenly lit up. All right, tell Toshio they'll handle everything here, he said. A shocking discovery. As I waited alone in Toshio's office and lab, Mr. Kimura visited a little after 9. Mr. Kimura seemed weakened by the loss of the valuable platinum, and unlike usual, he looked extremely dispirited. Mr. Ono, if the platinum doesn't come back by tomorrow morning, what should I do? Mr. Kimura asked me, looking very worried. Please don't worry. Toshio will definitely get it back. But Toshio was only concerned with me and Takeuchi and he made us go through such useless trouble with the X-ray. The culprit must have fled far away by now. I was at a loss for how to comfort Mr. Kimura and remained silent, deep in thought. Just then, Toshio returned, his forehead glistening with sweat. "Uncle Kimura, it's good you came. I apologize for earlier. How is Takeuchi?" Takeuchi went home soon after we returned together, saying he was tired and would sleep for a while at his lodging. Takeuchi must have been angry, right? Well, Toshio, you did such an exaggerated thing. It was my first time getting X-rayed. It's not good to have those often, Toshio said sarcastically. So, Toshio, have you found a lead on the culprit? Yes, I have. What? Both Mr. Kimura and I exclaimed simultaneously, looking at each other. Who is the culprit? Mr. Kimura pressed. All right, don't fret too much. Before I tell you that, I have some tea I'd like to serve you. Tea? This is no time for tea. Tell us the culprit's name quickly. Toshio didn't reply. Instead, he took a bottle from the medicine shelf, tilted it, and poured its contents into a beaker. Then, he cut a thin platinum wire into small pieces and held it in front of Mr. Kimura's eyes. Uncle Kimura, this tea is a bit unusual. It performs a strange trick. Are you ready? I'm putting this into it. As Toshio put the small piece of platinum wire into the liquid, the platinum dissolved in an instant with a faint sound. Aqua regia, a mixture of hydrochloric and nitric acids. Mr. Kimura asked in surprise. That's right. But the tea Takeuchi drinks is this. What? So, that teapot of Takeuchi's contained aqua regia, and the platinum was dissolved in it? That's terrible. With that cry, Mr. Kimura turned and ran off in a hurry without looking back. Brother, let's go to Mr. Kimura's house too. When we reached the front of Mr. Kimura's house, Mr. Kimura rushed out. Toshio, Takeuchi took the teapot home. Please do something quickly. Uncle, don't panic. Brother, please call for the car, Toshio calmly said. The last episode, Chemical Laboratory. The three of us got into the car I had called and hurried to Takeuchi's boarding house in Shimbori Town, Shiba Ward. From here on, I'll just call him Tochi. The trees along the road were glowing beautifully in the warm weather, but Mr. Kimura seemed impatient and barely spoke. When the car arrived, Mr. Kimura jumped out as if he were running away and dashed into the greengrocer where Takeuchi was staying. I was about to follow when Toshio grabbed my arm tightly and said, Don't get out, brother. Takeuchi is already gone. Mr. Kimura will be back soon, looking very upset. Sure enough, Mr. Kimura came back shortly, his face pale. Toshio, what should we do? The greengrocer's wife said Takeuchi suddenly moved out this morning without saying where he was going. He just took his things and left. Don't worry, uncle. We already know where he went. We can still get the platinum back. Let's go to the police headquarters now. The police? Mr. Kimura looked surprised. Yes, Takeuchi might already be caught. For the first time, Mr. Kimura looked a bit relieved. As the car passed Shiba Park, Mr. Kimura asked Toshio, How did you figure out the platinum was dissolved in aqua regia inside that teapot? Oh, that? Then let me tell you how I investigated. First, there are no footprints on the factory floor, so no one came in from outside. Second, about the broken glass. If it had been broken from the outside, there should have been more shards inside. But there were more pieces outside on the grass, which meant the glass was broken from the inside. If it was broken from inside, only Takeuchi could have done it. So, he must have stolen the platinum. But where did he hide it? I searched drawers and containers, but couldn't find it. Finally, just in case, I opened the teapot lid, and there was a strange smell. That's when I realized the smell of anesthetic in the room was to hide the smell of the liquid in the teapot. The platinum was hidden inside it. I didn't say anything at first because I didn't know what Takeuchi would do if I exposed him. So I asked Mr. Kimura, Who's this tea for? And Takeuchi answered before he could. That confirmed my suspicion. That's when I asked for the X-ray. Huh, Mr. Kimura looked puzzled. If the platinum was in the teapot, why bother with the X-ray? Well, true, but, oh, we've arrived at the police station. I'll explain later. Called Uncle P. Welcomed us. He and Toshio talked privately for a while. Then, since it was lunchtime, we all ate udon together. Mr. Kimura still looked dazed, but Toshio was cheerful and excited. Just as we finished eating, another officer named Hitano rushed in, breathing heavily. He hesitated when he saw us, but Mr. Otis said, "Don't worry, Hitano. These people are close friends. You can talk openly." Hitano reported, "I was watching the greengrocer's house. Takeuchi came back for the teapot. After about 30 minutes, a rickshaw arrived. He got in with a trunk and the teapot. The rickshaw headed toward Shinagawa, then passed through Oimachi and arrived at a Western-style house in the middle of a field in Amori. Takeuchi brought the trunk and teapot inside. No one seemed to be home. The neighbors didn't know who lived there, but said 5 or 6 men often gathered at night to do some kind of chemical experiments. I called the Shinagawa station and had 2 officers watch the house. Then I came back to report. Thanks, Mr. Otis said. We'll have to raid the place at night. Go get some rest." Once Hitano left, Mr. Oda turned to Toshio. "As you heard, let's meet here at 7. We'll arrive there by 8. Do you want to go home for now, or wait here?" Toshio asked Mr. Kimura, who said he wouldn't feel right going home until the platinum was recovered. So we stayed at the police station and waited for 6 hours. Waiting is hard. Time seemed to pass slowly. At 4, Toshio suddenly said, "Brother, I have something to do. Please keep Mr. Kimura company. I'll be back by 6. He left quickly, leaving us surprised. At 6, it got dark and the lights came on. Right then, Toshio returned, smiling. "Brother, Uncle P said you'll be very active tonight, so make sure to eat a lot and get your strength up." After dinner, it was 7. Mr. Otis sent some detectives ahead to prepare, and the 4 of us left by car. By the time we reached Amori, it was pitch dark. We saw 7 or 8 men inside the Western-style house, doing what looked like chemical experiments. We hid behind trees and watched. Takeuchi was among them. He proudly took out the teapot and handed it to a boss-like man. The man opened it, sniffed, and suddenly looked furious. He splashed the tea at Takeuchi's face, but it was Mr. Kimura who yelled out in shock, not Takeuchi. The men inside turned toward us. At that moment, Toshio blew his whistle. The lights inside and outside the house went out, leaving everything in darkness. What happened next is up to your imagination. Some gang members were caught inside, some while escaping. After a fierce fight, all were arrested by waiting police officers. I even helped tackle one of them. Ironically, it was Takeuchi. About 30 minutes later, all 8 criminals were loaded into the transport vehicle. Mr. Otis smiled and said, "Thanks, Toshio. One of these men is a notorious precious metal thief we've been chasing for years. I'll thank you properly later. You 3 can head back in that car." Mr. Kimura didn't look too happy because the platinum tea had been spilled. But Toshio pulled him aside and said, "Don't worry, Uncle Kimura. As promised, here's your platinum back." He handed over a shiny lump of metal. "Huh, how?" "I went to the X-ray place to retrieve this. We had to fool Takeuchi to get him out of the house. I returned early to switch the real tea with plain tea. I moved the real stuff into a different bottle, took it to Yamamoto Lab in Asakusa to reduce it back into metal, then picked it up at 4 p.m. from the police station. The boss got angry because he thought Takeuchi had swapped the tea himself. Let's go home now and make Annie happy." This is the end of today's story. Thanks for listening and see you in next videos.